everybody. Welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike L., and as always, I'm joined by...
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right, and this week we're taking a left turn into indie comics here. This is my pick. We're going to read and review Normalman #1 from 1984.
Yeah, Normalman. I had never heard of this.
Okay.
Until you mentioned it last week. And, well, you describe to the kids what this is.
So this is Jim Valentino of Image Comics fame. This is independently published. Well, it's published by Aardvark Vanaheim, which was Dave Sim's company. And it's basically...
Yes, I can give you some info on that.
Sure.
By the way, do you know what Vanaheim means? I had to look this up.
I don't know. Is it a play on... Is it a Norwegian word or something?
Yeah, it's like Norse mythology.
Okay.
It's supposed to be an area in the Norse kingdom where like a bunch of smart people lived.
Oh, okay, cool. Kind of pretentious, eh?
Like people of wisdom and fertility. I don't know. That's what I read.
Oh, interesting.
But anyway, yeah, so the publisher's name is Aardvark Vanaheim, a Canadian independent comic book publisher founded by Dave Sim and his wife Denny Lubert. Is that how you... Or Lubert?
Well, yeah, if it's Canadian, it's Lubert, yep.
I don't know, though, because sometimes you Canadians... I mean, I was going to get into a discussion of your last name.
Well,
because,
I say Poirier, but it's probably Poitier. But
anyway.
You'd only say that if you're pretentious or you're French, or both.
But they founded it in 1977, and they're best known for publishing Sim's Cerebus, that comic book we talked about last week a little bit, about the little aardvark, warthog guy-looking thing.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. And they divorced in 1984, and Denny moved to the U.S. and started Renegade Press.
I didn't know that.
Which lasted until 1988, and Renegade Press took all the books from Aardvark Vanaheim except for Cerebus. So Normalman started out on Aardvark Vanaheim, but it ended its run on Renegade Press.
Wow, I did not know that.
And Normalman actually got his first appearance as in a pair of 4-page backup stories in Cerebus issues 56 and 57 in 1983. And then he got his own series in 1984 that lasted for 12 issues. And then the story, I think it was published by Bi-Monthly there. So
yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then the story ended in Normalman 3D Annual 1 at the end of 1985, I believe. And so that's like the backstory of Normalman's publishing history. But what about the character, Mike?
Well, first, let me tell you, my first exposure to this character was when I was a little kid. There was a guy who lived down the street from me. I won't say his last name, but his first name was Derek.
Why can't you say his last name?
Well, I don't want to tarnish his name, but it wasn't until years later that I realized he was a compulsive liar. Like,
I see what's going on here.
So many things he used to tell me that I believed at face value. I'd find out later he just ripped off of different things. And I remember him telling me he created a superhero called Captain Everything, and I remember a drawing and all this stuff. Yeah.
No.
Then like years later, I see this comic book and I'm like, what the hell? Oh, he just ripped it off. But anyway, so this is a parody of superhero comic books, but it's about a character named Normalman, who, as far as I know, in this universe is the only character with no superpowers. And
on that planet.
Okay, on this planet. Yes, on this planet. And so basically there's a character called Captain Everything, who's a parody kind of Superman and Captain Marvel. There's the Legion of Superfluous heroes. There's a Sergeant Superfluous.
Superfluous.
Yeah. There's a character named Sergeant Fluffy, who's
I like this because you always make fun of me pronouncing wolf.
Wolf.
So now I can make fun of you for not being able to pronounce superfluous.
There you go, Superfluous. Anyway, Sergeant Fluffy is a parody of Sergeant Rock. Ultra Conservative, I guess, is a parody of Captain America, sort of. And it goes on from there. And
wait, did you say Sergeant Fluffy is
Sergeant Fury?
Yeah. I thought I blacked out there.
No. And then the Ultra Conservative is kind of like Captain America, I guess you could say. But not, well, like a play. So. Well, he's a play on.
I think he's more on political things going on in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Like, there's, Fantastic Four parodies in here. So it's basically it's almost like, Mad Magazine or What The, but it's a full story. Yeah. And that's pretty much the comic.
What The.
Yeah.
When I was reading this.
Yeah.
But this Normalman fella, his history, he started on a planet called Arnold.
Right.
Now, do you know why they named the planet Arnold? I was trying to look this up.
Do you?
Because I don't get that joke.
Arnold.
But anyway, he started on a planet Arnold, and but his dad was a junior CPA, and his dad was convinced that the planet was going to explode in 8 hours. So he built a rocket and sent his baby into space. And that baby is Normalman. The planet never exploded, and apparently the guy's wife murdered him because they sent their baby into space for no reason.
Funny.
But the baby flew through space for 20 years before landing on the planet Levram.
Get it?
Yeah, see, that joke you can get. That's Marvel backwards.
Right.
But Arnold, I'm not sure what that joke is. Like, what's the connection there?
I don't know.
Anyway. But yeah, he's the only normal person on a planet of heroes. And so he's trying to get back to his planet of Arnold, basically, is what's happening here. But he's trapped around all these crazy superhero people.
Right.
And all the covers of the series, all 12 covers, parodied famous comic book covers.
Right.
That's a great gimmick. And
I love
if
it,
you go through and look at all the covers, it's pretty funny. Like,
yeah.
You can see it, yeah. So, Michael, do you know the issue that this book parodies with its cover?
That's a good question because, to be honest, I didn't know it was a specific cover. I thought it was just a Superman in general, but do you know?
Yes, Superman issue 146.
Well, son of a gun. I'm going to have to look that up right now. Superman.
This is the part of the show where we Google things.
Number 146, which I have probably seen. Actually, I don't know if I've seen this one. But it's a damn good cover. I love it.
Yeah,
Kurt
it's just
Swan.
got the rocket ship. Oh, yeah, well, I guess we can talk about the cover now, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the original cover, it's Jor-El and Laura, and they're watching Kal-El, who's baby Superman, leaving Krypton in a rocket. And, this is, for the first time, the complete story of Superman's life. So I've probably read this at some point, but I just don't remember this cover. But, yeah, it's pretty classic.
Yeah, so the Normalman issue 1 cover...
Yes.
It's a little baby Normalman and his rocket ship taking off, and his parents are on the left there. His dad's all excited, He's like, hey.
Jumping up and down, yep.
Our son won't perish. When our doomed world explodes, this rocket will take him to a safe planet. And the mother's like, my baby. She's all upset. And Normalman, we didn't describe what he looks like. Would you care to describe him?
Sure. So Normalman is he's dressed in kind of like, he wears like, I guess, orange pants, like bell-bottom pants, black shoes, a green plaid jacket, a white dress-up shirt or button-up shirt, whatever you want to call it, and a polka dot bow tie, red and black bow tie, and he's got a sort of blonde crew cut and big glasses, sort of like horn-rimmed glasses, and he basically just looks like a nerd, like a classic nerd, right?
Yeah, because again, his father was a junior CPA, like an accountant, and like if a baby was just like an accountant, that's what he'd look like.
Right.
Pledge.
And so on this cover, he's a baby, but really he just looks like a small version of the adult with big glasses, and he's, instead of a jacket, he's wrapped in a plaid blanket, and he's got the bow tie. And he's kind of like screaming, like kind of like yelping like in fear as he's being rocketed away from this planet.
He kind of dresses like old school Jimmy Olsen, right? Isn't that how they usually show Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah, you could say that, yep.
But the other thing about this Normalman guy, he's only got 3 fingers and a thumb. And like all the characters in this book have 3 fingers and a thumb. Which is,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's a little weird because Normalman, and then he's clearly not normal because he's got 3
Well, I think this is just a classic trope of, comedy comics. In fact, did you ever notice that the Thing from Fantastic Four only has 3 fingers?
No.
Yeah. If you look up the Thing, he only has 3 fingers. Isn't that crazy?
What happened to his other finger when he turned into the Thing?
Who knows? Weird, eh?
Huh.
But yeah, I'm looking him up right now to confirm, and yeah, sure enough, he only has 3 fingers. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, so it's Normalman. Also on the cover here, we got a little box saying featuring no scene even remotely like this inside! Exclamation point. So it's a little joke there. A
little DC Comics joke, I think, right?
Yeah. And you got the like a blue pillar on the left side and a big yellow background in the sky, and the buildings are bent weird, and like so you can
Right.
tell it's a cartoony kind of thing. And yeah, it's a good cover though, right?
I like it. And we should point out the buildings do not look like alien or futuristic. They kind of just look like regular 20th century Earth buildings.
Yeah.
And
Oddly shaped, some of them. But,
yeah. And then the mother and the father are sort of dressed like Jor-El and Lara from Superman, just different colors.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they're jumping on. Go ahead.
I forget what the father's name was,
Uh-huh.
but eventually, I guess, Normalman, he finds out that his real name is Norm L.
I love it. I love it. See,
His
now
dad
just for
was
the
like
record.
Joe L or Jerk L. I
Okay.
think. But,
I actually got about 3 or 4 of these original comics in paper form, including this one.
Really?
So I read the paper copy.
wow, look at you.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? I was going to say you're a millionaire now. You got these old classic Normalman, but no, not really. They're not. I think you can get them for like $4 using Normalman
Probably,
books.
probably.
But the final Normalman, or no, you know what? I'm jumping ahead. I'm doing something
Okay.
else. Never mind.
Okay.
I remembered an interesting tidbit about a book I was going to pick for next week, and then I changed my mind on. So wow, it's completely useless right here. But I'll put it in my pocket, and I'll save
There
it
you
for
go.
later. Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, I gotta say, I actually do like this cover. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Good cover.
Like, and like the Normalman logo is the Superman logo, just different, right? Aardvark Vanheim. And I gotta say, the first thing I want to say is that I really have an affinity for indie comics that look like this, that look like kind of handmade. You know, that's one thing I like about it. Like, it's obviously drawn by a cartoonist, not like a photorealistic art style. So I like it.
This was $2 in Canada, $1.70 in the United States.
Yep.
And this came out in what, 84? So
84.
$2.
That's a lot. That's expensive
Yeah.
for back then.
Yep.
Now, it's also funny because if you notice, even on the inside of this first cover, it actually says at the top, circulation 18,000. I don't know how they could know that.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I guess when they're publishing it, they knew how many they were printing, so
I suppose.
interesting.
I mean, who did they had Diamond Comics as the distributor, it says right there. So
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
in
Okay.
Capital City. Yeah, because inside the cover, there's a note from the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all kind of like telling you who the publisher is, and Denny Sim is the publisher,
Right.
and a bunch of addresses for different things, a lot of
Right.
distributors.
Yep.
And then she has a little message, I don't know, talking about Normalman and
Yes, how Normalman was created. How actually, I interviewed Jim Valentino, and he told me the same story that he was living in a place called Normal Heights, and they were doing a comic called Almost Normal Comics, and then also in the story you find out that they were going to publish a book called what is it? Adventures of an Innocent Bystander or something like that, and they decided to kind of adapt that idea to this and just create Normalman.
yeah, Tales of the Innocent Bystander.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So it's a cool idea, inspiration.
And
I like
apparently
it.
they were located in Kitchener, Ontario, Miguel.
Yes, I've been there many times. How about you?
Oh, yeah? No,
Yep.
I've never been to Kitchener.
Yeah, it's cool. It's nice.
I barely left my house. All right. So now on the next page, we get
All right, so
Normalman, like a little preview,
crack
a
it open.
three-part novella.
Yep. So again,
And
this is
The title is The Panties and Capes Syndrome.
right. And it's part 1 is not a dream, part 2 is not a hoax, part 3 is not an imaginary tale. And that's, of course, a parody of DC, overusing that trope of not a dream, not a hoax, an imaginary story or tale all throughout the 50s and 60s.
See, I did not know they did that.
Yeah. And so then we see a little panel, like an inset panel, featuring the Legion of
Go ahead, you can do it.
Wolfman heroes. No, the superfluous heroes.
There it is.
There you go,
Nailed it.
superfluous. And then we see, and then it's got like a little Legion of Superheroes parody. We'll talk about later. Then there's the featuring the ultra conservative, and he's kind of like doing something to some guy. Then at the bottom, it's featuring Sergeant Fluffy, which is like the Sergeant Fury parody. And
Yeah,
that's it.
Sergeant Fluffy, agent of Schmuck.
Right.
And the Schmuck acronym stands for nothing in particular.
Right.
That's a
And
running joke.
yeah, and then that's it. Now here's the thing: is I have not read this in years, and I kind of forgot that it starts in the middle of the story. I forgot that there was like a lead up to this in Cerebus, which I've never read. So
Yeah. But we should mention, not only is this written in pencil by Jim Valentino, he also inked, lettered, and colored it.
oh, cool.
So, look at that.
That's what I mean. Very handmade. I like that. And so yeah, so we start off in the middle. Basically, Normalman is about to get punched by. Is this the ultra conservative? Yes.
Yes.
And we have the parody of the Fantastic Four watching them, and they're what is this? The Fantastical Four, right?
I thought it was the Fanatical Four.
Or Fanatical Four. And so we see kind of like the Johnny Storm and the Sue Storm in the background, and then we see like Mr. Fantastic, and then kind of like a version of the Thing, and then the Mr. Fantastic guy is like, "Why? It's another symbolic splash panel of a scene found nowhere in this comic," and that's definitely a DC dig, right?
Yes, we talk
Right.
about that a lot.
Yeah.
How DC would do that for no apparent reason.
Right. So basically, yeah, we come in and ultra conservative knocks out Normalman. He's knocked out. Then we have a little
And ultra conservatives just in like a suit, like a politician.
three-piece
He's
suit,
not
right?
an outfit, yeah.
And we have a little note from the editor plugging Cerebus 56 and 57. And then now an ultra conservative is like, now that he's knocked out Normalman, he's like, now I've got you in my clutches. And once I inject you with this serum, you'll become just as superpowered as everyone else. I shall make you conform. And then we talked about the running joke where this is another running joke where in the background we see these two superhero guys doing like a little dance, and they're singing the song Panties and Capes, super folk wear panties and capes.
Yes.
And then the parody of the Thing,
His name is the Lunk.
the Lunk, he kind of steps through like a little window to save Normalman. And he kind of just falls out of the window, and as he's falling, he's like, "Here I come to save the day." And he lands on the ultra conservative, and then like with his ass. And then as he like lands on him, thud, the ultra conservative, he's got the serum in his arm that's meant for Normalman, but he accidentally injects himself in the bicep, right?
Yes.
So he accidentally injects himself, and then he's all pissed off. So he kicks Thunk in the face. Is it Thunk?
Yeah, Lunk.
Lunk. He kicks Lunk in the face, and then there's a thunk sound effect.
Yes.
And then Normalman activates his what's it called? His ring. And then
Yeah, he has a secret like signal ring to call
Right.
Captain Everything.
everything, just like how Jimmy Olsen does.
Oh,
And-
he did? I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Oh yeah, that's how he called Superman, a supersonic signal watch. Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So then so there's kind of like another running gag is they're wondering what happened to Captain Everything. And so we'll find out in part 2. And then we cut over to the 33rd century headquarters of the Legion of Superfluous Superheroes. Yeah. And so basically we see the members all standing there looking like a viewer screen. And they're trying to get a hold of Captain Everything, but he hasn't answered the call. So then he's like, so this guy's name's Lightweight Lad. And then the girl is Uranus Girl, and she's like, we're going to have to like jump in and help, and we might even have to call the Legion of Substitute Pets, which is a parody of the Legion of Super Pets, which is real, and the Legion of Substitute Heroes, which is real.
Yikes.
And so then Lightweight Lad is like, okay, that sounds good, but first we got to do roll call. So then the next page, we see a sea of like 1,000 superheroes, and we see Lightweight Lad reading this huge scroll of names, and he's like, ambiguous boy, here, ample lass, we're here, and the joke is it's kind of like a Power Girl type girl with gigantic boobs.
Yeah, her
and then
boobs are the two of them. We're here.
Right, we're here. And then he's like, androgynous person. And then there's a lot of cutting back and forth here. So then we cut back to the scene of ultra conservative in the alley, and then he transforms into a superhero called the Liberator, which is a pun on liberator, right? And liberal.
Yeah, liberal. Hey, Michael, if you go back to that big sea of heroes there on the roll call, like if you really look, he puts in some like noticeable, recognizable heroes.
Yes.
Like there's the Vision in there. There's Spider-Man. There's
Wolverine.
Yep, Wolverine.
Let me see who else. There's a pig guy. I don't know who that's supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know, pig guy. Looks like Captain Marvel's in there. Hawkman, Starman.
Oh, the Yellow Kid is in there.
Yep, Shazam. The Yellow Kid's right down in front there.
Uh-huh.
Howard
it's
the
cool.
Duck, looks like, on the right of the yellow kid.
Yeah, we're...
Look at the yellow kid, then go to his right. Howard the Duck.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see him now, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and
there's
then Fred Hembeck.
Yeah, I was going to say Fred
Yeah,
Hembeck.
nice. Very cool. Nice little
There you
tribute
go.
there.
So attention. Oh, Impossible Man's back there on the left. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
Hulk. Yeah. So anyway, so now ultra-conservatives become the liberator, and then basically Normal Man's like, well, while this is going on, I'm going to try and get out of here. And then he's running away from the liberator, and then we see above Normal Man's head, we see a guy that looks like Spider-Man getting smashed into a wall. And basically the idea is that all these superheroes are always fighting, I think, right? And so he's running through the streets, and we see like
look at that next panel, Michael. Who's fighting in that next panel?
Oh, that's our man.
That's right. It's our man. He takes a narcotic, and he gets powers for 60 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. It looks like he's fighting one of the X-Men, though, eh?
Yeah, it looks kind of like, old school X-Men outfit.
Yep. And then another guy that looks like Superman kind of like gets knocked down right in front of him, and he's trying to get away to safety, and then we see those two guys in the background singing that song, Panties and Capes, again. And then
are they like Siamese twins? It looks like they're actually physically
they're connected. Yeah, you're right there. I didn't realize that. They're conjoined, yeah. And then we cut back to the liberator, who's kind of like shouting back and forth with Lunk.
And now, did you mention liberator? He's now in a costume.
Yes, he's in a superhero costume. Yes,
red, it's like yellow gloves, yellow boots, a yellow fin on his head, but otherwise like a red outfit, like the Flash.
Right. And then, and actually, I always liked this joke. I remember liking it as a kid. So Liberator punches out Lunk, and he goes flying. And then the Reed Richards type guy says, "You can't start a major action scene now." And he says, "Why not?" "Because Helpless Woman isn't safely hidden away yet." And I remember as a kid thinking that was so funny.
Huh. Really?
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, Invisible Woman, she's Helpless Woman. That's her.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Liberator says, "Bah, there's no place any of you can hide that will save you from my wrath," right? But then we got to cut away to Normal Man running. And we see, superheroes in the background fighting. And then as he runs by a scene, it looks like of Martian Manhunter fighting Thor. Supergirl's in the background. It looks like Aquaman, maybe someone else. Oh, there's a little sign that says Mort Weisinger lives, which is a Superman editor, Mort Weisinger. Just at that moment, Normal Man gets pulled into a doorway. And then the page ends three quarters of the way down, or 2/3 of the way down. And we see coming superb attractions. And this is a little plug for other comics, Cerebus, Neil the Horse, and The Journey. And this is, DC used to do this all the time. They would have advertisements in the bottom third of a page. So then we cut over to Normal Man's pal, Captain Everything, and now we finally find out what's happened to Captain Everything. And we see here, this is actually like another, what's it called? Splash page. So this is a preview of what's coming in the story, and we see Captain Everything standing there, and he's kind of like a Superman parody. He's got a yellow and red costume, and he's got on his shirt on his chest that says Captain Everything. He's got stars on his gloves, and he's looking at all these duplicates, these imperfect duplicates, just like the way Superman, whenever he was exposed to, sometimes when he was exposed to red kryptonite, they would generate duplicates, or Bizarro was an imperfect duplicate of him. So we see all these imperfect duplicates, like a fat Everything, a black Everything, a Hulk Everything, a guy with spikes, a guy with a big brain, and on from there. And so, but that's actually not happened yet. That's just a splash page. So we cut over to the headquarters. That's a satellite headquarters floating above the planet Levram, and it's the satellite headquarters of the Justice League of Society, which I think is a pretty good name. I think it's funny. And then we see the main members of the team who are not doing monitor duty. These are people who are actually out on duty, I guess, right? We see the Flesh, Flatman, Green Heartburn, Human Person, Waterlogged Man, Robin Hoodlum, Nasty Girl, and Useless Kid, which are all parodies of Justice League characters. And then, so the editor...
the Flesh is a naked dude.
Right, completely naked.
The Flash.
Right. And the narrator's like, which one of these is on monitor duty? Need you ask? It's... And then we flip the page, and it's Captain Everything sitting there on monitor duty, right? Mm-hmm. And he looks like he's really bored.
I just noticed that the planet he's monitoring, I guess, is that Leverum? It's a cube.
Well, see, I don't know, because on the previous page, it doesn't look square, but I know that the Bizarro world is square. So I'm not sure if Leverum's supposed to be square or if that's just a little joke. I'm not sure.
No idea.
Yeah, but anyway, Captain Everything looks on his viewer screen and he yelps, "Great crayon! It's the signal watch I gave to Normalman," and he sees that Normalman has been punched out. Right. So this is kind of flashing back to the beginning of the story. So then he's like, "Well, I want to leave and go help him, but I can't leave monitor duty. So what am I going to do?" So then he's like, "I've got it. I've got an idea." And then a little light bulb goes off over his head. He decides to create a duplicate of himself. So he duplicates himself and he splits into the regular Captain Everything and then a black version of Captain Everything with like an afro.
And the duplicate, his costume is red and yellow instead
right.
of yellow with red. It's mostly red.
Right, and he's wearing a little emblem or little, what do you call that? Like a medallion that says duplicate number 1, just like how Bizarro used to have a thing that said Bizarro number 1.
See, I did not know that. You're teaching me so much about DC history.
Yeah, see? You learn something new every episode of Flea Market Fantasy. So then he's like, okay, this is perfect. Now I can go rescue Normalman and you can do monitor duty. And he's like, monitor duty, hold it. But then we have to cut away, right? So we cut back to the scene of the Liberator fighting the Fanatic Four, and then he's changing back into... Oh, no, he's going back and forth between the Liberator and the Ultra Conservative, right?
Yeah, every step he takes, he's changing back.
Right.
Remember that movie, what was it, Altered States or whatever? With remember that
was that David Cronenberg?
So, I don't know, but it was a famous scene where he's walking down the hallway and like he kept flat. But anyway.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
But, yeah, because Ultra Conservative is trying to fight the transformation into the Liberator. He's trying to, like, resist the transformation.
So then, all of a sudden, he's standing there with his legs apart, and the Fanatical Four are in the background, and they're like, look out! He's striking a significant Kirby pose! And it's kind of like a Jack Kirby pose with his legs all apart and his fists up. And, hold on a sec here. And then, what happened? Well, that's weird.
Yeah, it flips upside down. There's one page that's scanned upside down. Oh,
geez, yeah. And I've got the paper copy, but it's like really far away. So this is kind of hard to read, but here, let me just...
Well, he's just beating up the Fanatical Four.
Yeah.
They're like getting in a fight. And then we cut back to Captain Everything and his duplicate back at the station, and they're arguing because the duplicate doesn't want to be on monitor duty. So they decide to make more duplicates, right?
Right. So then they make another duplicate.
Well, it's actually the duplicate that makes the duplicate.
Okay.
So.
And this guy looks pretty much just exactly the same as Captain Everything.
Except he's fat.
Yeah. And well, by my low standards, that's not fat, but yeah, okay, I get your point. Yeah. So then they are arguing with each other. So then they decide to fight. So then they cut away from that, and they cut back to the roll call of the Superfluous Legion, whatever, Superfluous, whatever they're called. And then they're going through the roll call: Colossal Boar, Comics Boy,
they're still
Crustacean
doing the roll
Kid.
Call. That's a good joke, right?
Yeah, I think so. Then they cut back again to Captain Everything, and now there's like 20 duplicates, right? There's like the Hulk duplicate, there's a Thor duplicate, and a werewolf duplicate. So then he's like, okay, well, whatever, I'm getting out of here. So then he takes off, he flies away, and then we see another ad for Aardvark Vanaheim Comics.
Did you ever read Neil the Horse?
No, but I had an issue. I might have read it once as a kid, yeah. It was one of those
ones...
looks
like Steamboat Willie, the old Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
but as
good
a horse.
Point. Good point, yep. Yeah. That was one of those ones you'd find in like quarter bins at comic conventions.
What about Journey? I never heard of Journey.
No, but that is written by... It says W.M. period, and I'm assuming that's short for William.
Yes.
But William Francis Messner-Loebs, who's now known as William Messner-Loebs, so...
What's he known for, though?
He wrote The Flash, he wrote Superman, yep, a few other things. He was big in the 90s, good writer. Anyway, so then we cut to the next page, and now we see that, pardon me, when Normalman was pulled into the door, he was pulled in by Sergeant Fluffy, right? Oh, now we're finding that out. Yeah. First we see a splash page, then we find out that he was pulled through the doorway by Sergeant Fluffy. And so we see this big kind of Steranko splash page of him standing there with like a big American flag behind him. And then there's these small little panels in front of him telling the story. One second, I just got a cough. Anyway. So yeah, he's basically saying, he saved him from the ultra-conservative. And then he takes him along with him, and he's like, "You're gonna come with me." And they're walking through this on this platform in, what is it, Schmuck headquarters?
Yep.
Yeah, Schmuck headquarters. And there's all this massive, like, kind of Kirby tech on the wall.
And I don't know if you noticed, Michael, but Sergeant Fluffy is wearing ruby red slippers.
Oh, good point. I didn't notice that.
I think it comes into play later on in the series.
Okay.
But but every time they mention Schmuck, there's a little editor's note, and it says stands for nothing in particular.
Right. And
they do it every time, so it's pretty funny.
Right. So he's walking along, and Normalman is like, "What is all this machinery for?" And he's like, This is our experimental model anti-physics propulator." And he's like, "What does it do?" He's like, "Well, fills up a panel pretty well, or pretty damn well." He's like, "I had to ask. Then we cut back to ultra-conservative. And he is still fighting the Fanatic Four, but they... Oh, no, what is this now? Oh, so this is a... so then he's like, "I'll summon the Fanatic car," which we've affectionately nicknamed the Flying Euphemism. And then there's a little editor's note in an effort to be coinily cute, of course.
It looks like a toilet bowl.
Absolutely, yeah. So then because the old joke about the Fantastic car was that it looked like a bathtub. So, yeah, this is like a play on that. So he gets into the flying Fanatic car, and he's flying to Magnum Opus Almost Limited HQ. And he's flying, and he's like, "Where I shall plot the death of Normalman and any foolish enough to befriend him. And I shall start by sending my agents to destroy him now." And we see him, he's got this giant red button in front of him. He's about to hit it. But then we cut back over to Sergeant Fluffy, who is shooting up these AIM parody characters called Aimless.
Instead of like the beehive costume, like they have garbage cans on their heads.
Right. Yeah. So he's Sergeant Fluffy is shooting them with a machine gun, and Normalman's kind of like cowering in fear behind him, right? And Sergeant Fluffy's just unloading with his machine gun, and like bullets are flying everywhere, and Normalman's kind of trying to get out of the way. So he's like running away, and he's running by that machine, and then we see out of this black doorway a little hand comes out and says, "Psst, come here, normie boy." And then the narrator's like, "How about that? A new plot twist." So of course this means we're going to cut. So they cut back to the Superfluous superheroes or heroes, and they're still doing the roll call. Dastardly Dame, what is that?
Diphtheria Kid.
Diphtheria Kid. Which diphtheria?
It's an illness.
Oh, okay. Donut Boy, Dumb Bunny, I guess. And then we find out now what happened to Normalman. So then he's been pulled into, or he's been summoned into this room by this short person who's in shadow, and he's like, "Psst, come here, normal boy. I can show you how to get off this planet." And he's like, "What, you? That's right, pal. I got a one-way ticket just waiting for you. All you's got to do is trust me." And we see it's this short little kind of like nymph, and he's got like a black hair kind of combed down on his forehead, and it says on the shirt, "Rotten Kid." And then it says, "Uh-oh, looks like we've run out of room, so we'll have to continue all this next issue." And then we see the preview for next issue, which is a parody of Spider-Man, and it says "The Excruciatingly Average Normal Man." And that's it. And that's next issue. And that's the end.
Yeah, little Rotten Kid. He's got a superhero outfit on, too. And it turns out that Rotten Kid is the ultra-conservative's nephew.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if it's cool, but yeah, that's what happens. Normalman. There it is, issue 1. And then there's a letters page. Of course, there's no letters yet because it's the first issue, right? But there's some backstory on Normalman and
right.
How he created him and all that stuff.
Yep.
Then that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
So, Normalman issue 1. All right, it was created and everything by Jim Valentino, who was born 1952 in the Bronx, New York. He started in the late 1970s producing small press comics that were mostly autobiographical, and Normalman was his first notable work. In the late 1980s, he started working for Marvel. He did some issues of What If, and then he pitched an idea for a new Guardians of the Galaxy series to Tom DeFalco.
Yep.
DeFalco already had his own proposal ready to go, but he liked Valentino's idea better, so he gave him the series. How about that?
Right. Yep.
Good old Tom DeFalco. Valentino wrote and drew the first 29 issues in one annual from 1990 to 1992. Now, Michael, you love Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you read that series?
I bought number 1 off the stands, and I read it, and I enjoyed it, but not enough to keep going. But one day I've decided I am going to go back and read it.
Yeah, we can't do it on this show because it was 1990.
Yes, I know, and that's yet another reason to possibly expand the boundaries of our show. Right?
But son of Flea Market Fantasy.
There you go, yeah.
But did that have the same, like, what cast did they have there?
It was the original, like, 1970s cast, Vance Astro, Martin X, Charlie 27,
Yeah, they
Mickey.
were the best ones.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the other guy's name? Something Hawk or Star or something?
There's so many different Hawks in the world.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think
but anyway,
it was Starhawk. Yeah.
Yeah, the original team, yep. Good stuff.
Then he left Marvel to help create Image Comics.
That's true.
He had his own Shadow line imprint, and he created the book Shadowhawk, one of those many Hawks that we mentioned.
Yes.
And he wrote and drew issues 1 through 18 from 1992 to 1996.
Yep.
Then did that series just end then, I guess?
It fizzled out, yeah. Pretty much.
Because Image came on like gangbusters there at the beginning. Very popular, but then like all the creators were like having trouble hitting deadlines and getting books out, and so all the excitement and the enthusiasm about Image it kind of fell off a cliff there the longer things went.
100%.
But in 1999, Michael, he became the publisher of Image Comics.
Right.
I was not aware of that at all.
Yeah.
This was right after Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri left, so there was a drop in sales at Image. But he was able to maintain Image as the third biggest company, and he eventually turned a profit. How about that?
Right.
Turned in a profit. And he helped discover creators like Robert Kirkman and Brian Michael Bendis.
Yes, true.
Now, that Kirkman fella, he did that Walking Dead stuff, right?
Yep, absolutely. So he kind of discovered Walking Dead, yeah.
And Brian Michael Bendis, he did a whole bunch of
Well,
X-Men
I'm not a fan of Bendis, but he became a hugely popular writer at Marvel and now at DC. Yeah.
Read some of his stuff.
You a fan?
Nah.
No, I'm not a fan at all. No.
He was replaced as publisher in 2003 by
Eric Larson.
That's right, Eric Larson.
Yep.
So after that, he resurrected his old Shadow line imprint, and he started putting out more books for Image, and he is still the vice president of Image.
Nice. Well, yeah, the 7 original creators, I think they all kind of have like a board of directors position, right? Like president, vice president, whatever.
Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah.
Yep.
So there were 7 guys that created Image?
Yes.
Can you name them?
Of course. Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Will Portasio, Jim Valentino, Mark Silvestri, and who am I forgetting? Eric Larson?
Yeah, Eric Larson, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, that's impressive, Michael.
Yep.
So there is Jim Valentino. Any other memories of Jim Valentino?
Only that I interviewed him once and he was a nice guy, and that's about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I guess when you think about him, Shadowhawk is really all I know him from.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he knows he's not the greatest artist, and he's probably not the greatest writer, but I think that he's at home doing kind of retro style comics, so that's why I like Guardians of the Galaxy. But Shadowhawk was weird because it was like this, it was almost like it was trying to be like a Frank Miller, Dark Knight type thing. So it was ultra violent. Like, I don't know if you know the concept, but the whole point of Shadowhawk was that when he confronted criminals, he didn't beat them up. He didn't arrest them. He didn't leave them for the cops. He broke their spines. That was the concept. Yeah, that was the concept. Gimmick. Yeah, it's horrible. I know. It was just ridiculous. It was like over the top. Yeah.
All I know, remember, all Shadowhawk is right when Image became super popular, I remember buying issue 1 of Shadowhawk at like a comic book convention or something, just because, all these Image new books, you want to get them
Right.
all or whatever. And then I remember looking through it, and I was like, I don't really like the art that much.
Right.
Because really, when you think of all those Image guys, they're all big, flashy artists. McFarlane, Liefeld. And then he really wasn't up to that level, I don't think.
No. He was the odd man out, because you had 4 X-Men artists, 2 Spider-Man artists, and then you had Jim Valentino. So he didn't really fit with them at all. I think the only reason he was really in on it was because he was friends with Rob Liefeld, and he kind of helped discover Liefeld, so they were friends, So that's
I was
why
going
he
to
was...
wonder, like, why... I was thinking, would they just like him because of his independent background and because of Normalman, and they're like, let's come on board with us. Because it does seem like he was the odd man in there.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just because he was friends with Liefeld. I think he was also much older. He was I would say at least 10 years older than Rob Liefeld, if not.
Well, he was born in 52.
52, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. So he was definitely the oldest guy by far.
Maybe they needed an adult in the room,
Yeah, maybe.
Look things over. So there you go, Jim Valentino, Normalman. I thought his art here was fine. I think his art's more made for this kind of style.
Yeah.
Like I like his cartoony stuff here.
Yeah, I agree. Like, as a cartoon, as a parody or whatever, I love the art for this. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's very solid. It's very good. Nice different compositions and shit. So.
Yep. And good expressions on the faces. It's funny.
Now, the jokes... they're fine, but it seems like a lot of times they're really hitting you over the head with the joke they're making, or he was making. Making it painfully obvious. Hey, do you see what we're doing here? Wink, wink. Do you see?
Yes.
Do you see? Yeah, we get it. We get it. It almost seemed like the story just existed to have jokes. Not much happens in this issue except for a bunch of cheap jokes lined up one after another.
That's definitely true. Yeah.
I would have preferred like a actual story more.
Right.
Some jokes thrown in instead of jokes with a little bit of story thrown in.
Right.
But, so I don't know. It was fine, but it's very much like those What The issues we read.
Totally.
But the thing with those What The issues, those stories are like 4 pages and you're out.
Right.
This is a long book.
Yeah, and that's why I think that's probably why he was juggling between 3 different scenes so that you could kind of not realize there's not actually a story, right?
Yes. I kept cutting back and forth through that stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, it's fine, but not something I would continue reading at all.
See, to be honest, I think I am going to continue reading because I know there's only 12 and maybe a special, so I'm probably going to reread the whole thing. Just finish it.
All right. Good luck with that.
Yep.
So, I don't know, 1 out of 10, I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6 too.
Like, I respect what he did. I appreciate what he did. But, I don't think it's, like, hilariously funny or anything.
Right. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I like the vibe, I like the art, and it's like, it's more like I appreciate what he's doing and I enjoy it. But it's not hilarious, but I do really like it.
So a thumbs up, but, just...
A mild thumbs up.
Yeah. So
there you go. We agree. I can't believe it. 6 out of 10 for both of us.
So, all right, Michael. Next week on this big here program... I like when we go back and forth, like you make a pick and I pick in response to your pick,
Oh.
I kind of like when we do that sort of thing. So you brought up the Aardvark Vanaheim independent comic book scene.
Ooh.
So I'm going to do it one better. I want to go back to Aardvark Vanaheim, but with a better book, I hope, fingers crossed. I first heard about this character when I was doing my research for Dakota North.
Okay.
I love Dakota North. And I heard about this character, and I was like, oh, yeah, that seems interesting. I should read some of this, but I never did, and I forgot all about this character. And then when I was researching Aardvark Vanaheim, I was like, oh, shit, there's that character again. So we're going to go next week. We're going to go Miss Tree.
Oh, wow.
Issue 13 from 1983. This is a female hard-boiled private eye. Kind of the inspiration, I guess you could say, for Dakota North and everything that followed. But this looks pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about this. Issue 13 has the cover, Mike. I don't know if you're looking at it right now, but I think this is one of the best covers I've ever seen. It is awesome.
Okay, let me punch this sucker in. Hold on here. Miss Tree. And this is a play on words, right?
Yeah, her name, Miss, as Ms., and then Tree. So like mystery, if you read it quickly. Yeah.
Well, wait. You know what's funny? Is it like? Oh, here it is. It's Mystery.
Yeah.
I see. I was spelling it Mystery. Okay, it's Mystery.
But yeah, but you say it quick like it's mystery. They're doing that as a play on words. Mystery.
And this is the
Mystery.
1983 series,
Yes.
right? Okay, hold on a sec here. And it's number 13, you said?
Issue 13.
Okay, let me just see this cover to confirm it's one of the greatest ever made.
It's awesome. I love it.
It's pretty cool. I gotta say, it's pretty cool.
It is awesome. Yeah, we'll talk about it in detail next
Ah, okay. Yeah, I like it.
week. So, all right, there it is. Mystery.
All right.
I'm excited about this, Michael.
Yeah, I'm
Very
excited too because this is Max Allan Collins, right?
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
good
the
writer.
artist's name is Beatty.
Terry Beatty, yes. And I'll have you know, Max Allan Collins wrote a handful of Batman stories that I'm sure we'll be reviewing on our show one day. I'll play off you, you play off me. You know how it works. Anyway.
Because I had a different issue picked.
Okay.
And then when I stumbled across the Mystery, I'm like, oh, no, shit, we got to read this. So, yeah, we're doing Mystery.
Awesome. Cool. Can't wait. So there you go. Check out next week's episode of Flea Market Fantasy and every episode of Flea Market Fantasy. All of them are available at www.comicbooksyndicate.com. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. So yeah, be sure to join us. And until next Tuesday, disperse!